Hi, my name is Mike, and today I want to share a personal testimony. And I want to start off with some of the things that I could share and then narrow in on okay, here's what we're actually going to talk about today. But I could talk about where the Lord has brought me in terms of who I used to be, the things I used to do. For example, used to be a lot more selfish than I am right now. Never to the extreme, but I used to have thoughts like, I work hard, I deserve this. Um, I used to think, well, hey, life is short. I should live for the moment. I should think about what's right in front of me. I used to want to drive the nicest car, have the nicest things. And there's no problem in doing that, but I had a prideful mindset about doing that. I used to be a drinker. I used to enjoy drinking, going out. Um, I went to Tuskegee University in college and uh, majored in electrical engineering, but minored in drinking. And that's something that carried over into life after college. For example, the habits and the things that you learn around your friends and your boys, like chasing women, out partying, alcohol, and smoking. I mean, all those things are things that you have to unlearn and pull out of your life. So, those are testimonies that could be shared. Those are things that have changed as I got older and as I matured. I could also share testimony about debt cancellation. And one of the things that God has encouraged me to do as a visionary is run and build and explore. And in doing that, you take tremendous amount of risks and you can also take on tremendous amount of debt. And I can share testimonies of him canceling that debt. And when you're working with God, it's a partnership. There's things that he's done and there's things that he will do through you, which requires you to move out in faith so he can do those things. For instance, selling property, yes, that's one way to cancel debt, and that is what happened. However, even in the selling of the property and being obedient to the move of God, there's still a miracle that occurred in that the debt that was owed was greatly reduced. But today, I want to keep it really simple. I want to talk about the testimony of walking closer to God. And somebody told me, or I heard preached, or I read somewhere that if the Lord wakes you up in the middle of the night, get you a pad and pen and write down what he's telling you. And it was really good advice because you go back to sleep and you may or may not remember what was told to you. And so me and my Heavenly Father started having these intimate personal conversations. And I started asking the Lord detailed questions. Should I do this? Should I go there? Should I do these things? And I would write them down. And I had a notebook and I'd write them down. Eventually, I transferred to the notepad in my smartphone and started writing these things down. So the testimony is this. When I look back at what I was concerned about then, a few months ago, what I was asking the Lord about, these things are done. And I look at the promises that he's made. God will honor his promises. He will honor his word. And so he loves each and every one of us. There's being saved is one thing, but having that personal relationship where you can share and you can learn, that is the testimony that I want to share with you. And that's the testimony that I want to encourage you to let go, listen. If he tells you something, he's going to do it. Have the courage, particularly as men and as fathers and as the breadwinners of our homes. We've got a tremendous amount of responsibility, but when you let go and you are following his agenda, then you have the right to say, Lord, you following you has me in this place. Therefore, my expectation is that I will come through this valley. And whether that's business, whether that's family, whether that's all the things that I started talking about that could have been a focused testimony, it all comes down to a relationship with the Father. So that's my encouragement to you today, and that's my testimony is to increase and encouragement. Increase your communication with the Father. It doesn't have to be a thee, thou, thus conversation. It can be, Lord, I'm struggling with this and I need some help. And he hears us, he hears our prayers, and he will answer.